Welcome, and thank you for joining us for Global Action Summit for the Climate today. We have to act now. The fact that you're here and engaging tells me that you already realize how important it is for the decisions we make right now to wean ourselves off of fossil fuels, move to renewable energy for the sake of our planet and the climate. And we have 58 days left on some decisions that will have lasting impacts on our climate. A lot's at stake, and sometimes it can feel overwhelming when we are seeing and surrounded by evidence of nearly irreversible climate change already in place around us every day. It can feel overwhelming and hopeless. But there are important decisions that we can and must do to take now in this election, even though it's a non-presidential election. And why do I say that? Because who we elect as governor will decide who is heading up the Department of Natural Resources, who's heading up the Colorado Department of Health and Environment, who's heading up the Department of Agriculture, who gets appointed to the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission. Key decisions that decide whether we move forward or backward away from fossil fuels and into the future. I, for a long time, have believed that Colorado has a unique responsibility to be at the front of the pack on leading other states, and the United States has a moral responsibility to lead among the nations, since we are, after all, one of the heaviest energy users in the country. But these decisions don't stop at who we pick for governor. Who we elect for Congress has everything to do with what this country will tangibly do in a day-to-day life on whether we are giving incentives to fossil fuel companies or to renewable energy, whether we're rewarding conservation and careful, thoughtful planning, whether we are protecting or penalizing polluters. Every aspect of public policy decisions, from transportation to the energy grid, affect not only the immediate energy mix we have, but I think at this point, we are all aware that this decides what kind of catastrophic environmental events we're going to be facing. This is an issue of national security, and that the effects of climate change are already provably showing destabilization effects in many different parts of the world. And when we see things like protracted drought or impact on our food supply or the chronic health effects that deal with long-term pollution here, these have real-world consequences here, around the country, around the world, for this generation and every generation to come. So the good news is that we can do something about it, and we can not only decide who those policymakers are, but when we vote this November election, we need to be voting pro-conservation, pro-environment, and we need to be educating and raising the issue of climate change. And after the election, we need you to stay involved, because once we get people elected, it's going to take committed activists and people working with our elected officials to continue to push for the policies that we need to do immediately. Some will argue we're already past a tipping point, but we are there and so close that if we don't act now, the future of this planet and all the generations will follow will wonder where we were in this moment when we could and should have acted for the well-being of this planet and the people on it. Thank you for joining our summit today. I hope you have a great time, and we look forward to you engaging and interacting with us and being part of this most important conversation.